I love Star Wars, like a lot. I have spent countless hours watching movies and shows, reading books and comics, and playing video games, all set in the Star Wars universe. Star Wars has been a big part of my life ever since I was a child. It honestly made me the big nerd that I am today. And you know what I want to do with it? I want to share that experience, that love for a galaxy far, far away, with everyone. However, there are some recent developments in the Star Wars galaxy that have made it a bit hard for some folks to get into the franchise. I am of course referring to the recent toxicity surrounding the most recent release, The Acolyte. Set 100 years before The Phantom Menace, the series follows a group of Jedi as they come across a devious plot that slowly unfolds in the darkest corners of the galaxy. The series does take some creative liberties with the already existing ideas of the Force and the Jedi throughout. Sounds like something you may be interested in? No? Well, then you simply have the choice to not watch it. Because you see, while Star Wars is for everyone, not all Star Wars is necessarily for you. There are a few steps you can take to decide if a Star Wars project is for you. You see, I feel as we get more and more TV shows, books, comics, video games, and movies, people feel the need to consume every corner of the Star Wars universe. With that comes the simple fact that all art is subjective. That's what makes it so great. Something you truly love can inspire you to continue exploring that corner of the Star Wars universe. However, it can also lead to a very vocal and sometimes toxic part of the fan base to also rise up. You're allowed to not like things. It's what makes you unique. However, what you shouldn't do is attempt to ruin someone else's fun and enjoyment of that corner of the universe. You can simply not watch it if you don't like it. As the Star Wars universe continues to expand, there will certainly be projects where you are not necessarily the target audience. For example, let's look at the show Young Jedi Adventures. This is a show set during the High Republic era that follows a group of young Jedi as they explore the galaxy on various adventures. I bet you couldn't have figured that out from the title. The primary audience of this show is small elementary age children. So am I going to watch and criticize this show? No, it's not for me and I have no interest in watching it. So I choose not to watch it. Nobody is making you watch everything Star Wars. If a project isn't your interest, you can always find something else to watch in this huge franchise. It's not that serious. Star Wars is supposed to be fun. You might argue, but I have to make sure they're respecting George Lucas's original vision. To which I ask, what do you think George's original vision was? George Lucas set out to make a 6-film saga about the Skywalker family, which he did. Yes, the franchise continued for years through novels, comic books, spin-off movies, and video games. But George never paid those any mind. For years, George always referred to his own 6 movies and the Clone Wars TV series as the only things he viewed as canon in his mind.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zed.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him burned and
I don't
executed
even know
and
who
burned.
that guy is.
So to say that you only want to see things that align with Lucas's vision, you really limit yourself to such a small collection of the entire Star Wars franchise. In fact, Lucas himself has been cited saying that his own canon isn't set in stone, often opting for fun over established canon. For example, there are a few instances in the Clone Wars where Dave Filoni wished to use a character that had pre-established lore, which would prevent them from appearing in the show. George would simply shrug his shoulders and say, why not?
Yeah, it says Eve Koth is among the fatalities included.
George said we could kill him.
But so often inaccurate. Our intelligence is.
And I said, hey, George, can Eve Koth be alive? Yeah. Okay, there's the answer. So Eve Koth is alive.
George always intended for this to be a fun franchise targeted towards children, but fun for all. He never wanted to prioritize lore over creativity.
You know, it's hard for people to realize, and I'm not supposed to say this, and I wasn't supposed to say it then, but
it's a film for 12-year-olds.
But it brings out the kid in all of us, doesn't it?
Hell, he even let Mace Windu have a purple lightsaber just because Samuel L. Jackson asked for one.
I figure out who we had to talk to about your lightsaber color.
Oh, well, good guys are green and blue, bad guys are red. That's just the way it works.
No purple left?
You might get purple.
There are 47 years worth of stories told in a galaxy far, far away that have absolutely nothing to do with Lucas's original films. Do they still adhere to the canon established in the movies? For the most part. But they can also get pretty weird and creative. And that's what makes Star Wars so special. The Force, the Jedi, the Sith, and so much more mean something different on every planet you journey to in this universe. When a franchise like this has so many different creatives, it allows for each project to be unique. For example, I recently discovered the book series Star Wars: Galaxy of Fear. These are elementary school level horror stories set in the Star Wars universe. They're nothing groundbreaking or life-changing, but it's fun to see something play around with the horror genre in the Star Wars universe. Don't get me wrong, I have great respect for George Lucas. After all, his stories made me the man I am today. But why limit your enjoyment of this franchise to the rules made by one man over 20 years ago when he himself is open to it all? Star Wars is supposed to be fun. Now I know what you might be thinking. So I'm just supposed to blindly like everything that Disney and Lucasfilm put out and never criticize it? No. I'm not gonna pretend like the Disney era of Star Wars has been flawless, cause it hasn't. You can be critical of the media you consume without ruining it for other people. You can love something and still point out its flaws, but don't harass people for their own opinions. For example, I did not care for the Book of Boba Fett and made an entire video criticizing that show on this channel. I only pointed out the flaws in the show itself, and left the conversation open for those that agreed or disagreed with me. I'm also fully open to hearing other people's criticisms of the Star Wars shows and movies that I do enjoy. Recently, I personally loved Ahsoka, but I can acknowledge its flaws and that it would have been better as an animated series. You shouldn't consume media blindly just because you love a franchise. The terms vote with your wallet or viewership are incredibly true in the current day and age of Star Wars. So remember, don't watch what isn't of interest to you, don't worry about what other people think, and be aware of the media you choose to consume. At the end of the day, we're all fans of Star Wars and want to have a good time. Don't harass fans or creators of new or old Star Wars content. And just have fun. It's not that serious. With that being said, I wanted to take one last moment to clarify that this channel is meant to be a safe space for everyone to talk about Star Wars. I've listed some of the various problems people have had with newer Star Wars projects and how they can avoid them and find something new. While there are valid criticisms to the current state of Star Wars, there are also totally invalid criticisms complaining about people of color, women, or members of the LGBTQ+ community being part of Star Wars. Newsflash. Star Wars hasn't gone woke. It always was, for those that like to use that term. The original films are literally inspired by World War II. The stormtroopers are literal Nazis. Star Wars is a story about rebellion, about standing up for what's right and rejecting oppression. It's about finding oneself and your place in the galaxy, no matter how small. It's because of that that everyone has some story to tell in a galaxy far, far away. If you truly have a problem with people of color, women, or members of the LGBTQ+ community being in Star Wars or writing for the franchise, then maybe reevaluate your relationship with the franchise. Now, you might be asking, what Star Wars media should I check out next? Well, good thing there's 47 years worth of media to pick from. Looking for something animated? Look no further than The Clone Wars, Rebels, The Bad Batch, or Tales of the Jedi/Empire. Need something for a younger audience? There's always Resistance or Young Jedi Adventures. Sick of the Jedi and want to explore the more scandalous side of the galaxy? Check out Andor, The Book of Boba Fett, or The Mandalorian. Do you have a desire to learn more about the Jedi? Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Acolyte, and Ahsoka are waiting for you. Want something really different? Check out Star Wars Visions, an animated anthology series featuring unique stories from different creators with no regard for canon. And all of these that I've listed are just the TV shows. There's of course the 11 movies and countless years of books, comics, and video games to explore. I would even recommend exploring some of the books that are no longer considered canon. They still provide a fun glimpse into an alternate approach to the Star Wars timeline. I myself have picked up the original Thrawn trilogy from Timothy Zahn, which starts with Heir to the Empire, and I have grown to love it. It's honestly one of my favorite Star Wars stories out there. So as you can see, there's plenty for anyone of any gender, age, race, or interest to explore. Star Wars is for everyone. Whether you're a casual fan or a hardcore believer since 1977, there's something for you to enjoy. Just remember to be respectful and have fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me rant about a franchise that I love dearly. Like I said at the start of the video, I want to share Star Wars with everyone, but I know it can also be intimidating given the current online atmosphere around the franchise. I hope and believe that we'll get through this eventually. Please remember to keep the conversation positive and respectful. If you liked what you saw here, consider liking and subscribing so you know when that next one's coming. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.